one of North America's premier road racing venues, plays host to the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship this weekend. But don't let the picturesque scenery fool you. This circuit will produce some of the most intense wheel-to-wheel racing at crazy speeds that you'll see anywhere in the world. Welcome to Road America in beautiful Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Today we focus on the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series as they embark on their third event weekend, the 2019 season. The number 29 Change Racing Lamborghini, with drivers Corey Lewis and Richie Antonucci, have a firm grasp on the championship in the Pro category after winning 3 of the first 4 races. Others to keep an eye on: IndyCar's Connor Daly and his teammate Brandon Godovic line up in 4th. And in the LB Cup category, Supercross and Motocross champion Chad Reed wheeled his Dream Racing Motorsport Lambo to pole position in class. And with that, let's join Brian Till and Jeremy Shaw for the call of the race.
640 acres carved out of the rolling hills just north of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's known as America's National Park of Speed. None other than Road America. 4 miles of twisting asphalt, up and down, 14 corners. And this is a racetrack known throughout the world as one of the most challenging, most daunting, high-speed sections, low-speed sections. It truly has everything. Passing zones, there are many. Turn 1, Turn 5, Turn 8, Canada Corner, all places where the spectators like to go and watch, because that's where the battles are really going to intensify. No better way to get a look at this racetrack than on board, so let's take a lap.
Hi, this is Richard Antonucci. Welcome to a lap of Road America with Change Racing Super Trofeo number 29. So we're on the main straight here. You go all the way up to 6th gear. Very, very fast, this track. One of the quickest parts of the track. You go down either 2 gears or 3. In this case, I've done 2. And get on the power. You can use all in the exit here. Those curbs look daunting, but they're actually easy to ride on. Down 2 gears here or 3. Again, you can choose. Top speed, back up the gears. Try and save as much road as you can, so don't use any extra on the line here. Try and square off the line here so you get good braking. Braking around 350. Down 4 gears. 2nd gear, really, really, really tight. Try and get everything on the exit, full power. Up to 4th, then back down to 3rd quickly over the crest. This is a tricky one because you got to trust your car when it's light. And back up to 4th, and then very, very light through here. The car feels light, just coasting through, full power. Back to 5th gear, then down 2 gears, 3rd. Again, try and use all in the exit, and as the weekend goes, this corner rubbers up. This is the famous carousel, extremely long corner. You stay in 4th. And you try to be patient on the throttle, waiting till you see the exit. Back on the power now, full power, up the gears, up to 5th, and then probably the most daunting corner of the track, the kink, very fast. It's claimed a lot of cars on the exit. Use everything if you can, as we saw there. 6th gear, very, very fast part of the track. Again, coming out to the last section, heavy, heavy braking around the 400. 3rd gear here, at least in my case. Again, another application of the windshield wiper. Use all the road here. Up the crest. Again, you got to trust your car. It's just a little bit light, the feeling. Final corner, make sure you get a very good entry, but prepare the exit, even more important. So good exit all the way up the gears. And this is one of the longest straights in America, and at least on road courses. So very important to get a good exit. There's our lap.
Round 6 of 12 for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Championship. Let's take a look at the first race here from yesterday, and it was a great one down into turn 1 from the get-go. Good battles all around, and Richie Antonucci, an aggressive move on the number 1 car into turn 5, and then the pit stops start to happen. Number 1, first car in, and that turned into a pivotal moment because not long after those pit stops, the battles continued on the racetrack, but then we had a full course caution. Why? Because of this. The wheel left rear departs from the 27, heavy impact with the turn, or with the tire wall, I should say, in the carousel, and then another full course caution because of this. The 34, Bryce Miller, heavy crash at the kink, and the battle was raging up front. and it comes into that section, debris all over the racetrack. The cars snake their way through. You can see what a minefield of debris it was, but at the end, the number one, Andrea Amici, Sandy Mitchell, they take the victory, and that's going to help close down the championship points to Richie Antonucci and his team. Let's take a look at how the field will line up today. Jeremy Shaw.
There will be 17 cars for today's round 6 of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. There are 4 categories of drivers, however. We have pros, we have pro-ams, we have amateur drivers, and we have LB Cup in the Lamborghini Cup, those with much less racing experience. Starting at the back of the grid, Stephanie Simo will start number 43, Prestige Performance, Wayne Taylor Racing. Ahead of her on row 8 is Jeffrey Cheng in car number 88 for GMG Racing, alongside Atapatu in car number 24 for US Racetronics. Row 7 on the outside, Randy Solari for Dream Racing Motorsport in car number 3, and Jerry Crouch from Minnesota for Prestige Performance in car number 53. Matt Dickin in car number 36 for Change Racing, alongside Sheena Monk in car number 7 for Dream Racing Motorsport. And on row 5, the LB Cup pole sitter, Chad Reed, motocross superstar in car number 22 for Dream Racing Motorsport. Alongside him, Cameron Castles in car number 33 for Prestige Performance. Row 4 to grid, Stephen Argicani, just 16 years of age, in car number 6 for US Racetronics. Alongside the pole sitter in the AM category is McKay Snow in car number 63 for Change Racing. Row 3, Eric Curran, car number 69 for Prestige Performance, and Corey Lewis, the championship leader, in car number 29 for Change Racing, back in the 5th starting position. On the outside of row 2, Brandon Godovic will start the car number 46 for Precision Performance Motorsports, alongside the pole sitter in Pro-Am, 3rd overall on the grid for US Racetronics in car number 09 is Jacob Edson. And onto the front row of the grid, yesterday's pole-sitting car, the Dream Racing Motorsport car number 27, qualified for today's race by Cedric Spirituali from Monaco. And on the pole position, yesterday's race winner, the teenager from Forfar in Scotland for Prestige Performance in car number 1 is Sandy Mitchell.
Field lined up side by side. Sandy Mitchell in the blue and black, number 1 on the pole. Cedric Spirituali just beside him. You can't see the flag as you come up, and they've slowed the field way down, and there's a gap on the left side, a large gap being left, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I can tell you the officials won't be wild about that. Gives those cars a kind of a running start at the green flag waves, and it does, and what a jump by Sandy Mitchell. I think Spirituali, immediately defensive, slides over in front of the 09 of Jake Edson, and what a job Edson did yesterday, finishing 3rd overall, and now he is side by side, wheel to wheel with the 29 through turn 1. Corey Lewis behind the wheel of that white Precision Performance Motorsports Lamborghini.
Corey Lewis, the championship leader there, along with Richie's teammate Richie Antonucci. He didn't qualify too well. He started in 5th position, but already up 2 places on the, we're not even yet halfway around the opening lap.
Corey Lewis really on it in that white 29 Lamborghini of Charlotte entry. He's gotten past Edson, and now up front, Mitchell with a good jump at the start, able to pull a couple of car lengths down into the heavy braking zone of turn 5. And Corey Lewis in that white 29 taking a peek, trying to fill the mirrors of Spirituali as they came into the braking zone for turn 6. These long straightaways don't help you much in getting tire temperature in the Pirellis on these Lamborghini Huracans. And right now, Corey Lewis may have a faster car than the 27 of Spirituali just in front, but finding a way by here and getting past that Lamborghini of Dallas entry is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, look to the inside there, going into the carousel. That's not normally going to work, and certainly not with somebody of Cedric Spirituali's experience. He closes the door there. Corey Lewis has to tuck back into 3rd position.
Not the finish that they wanted yesterday for the 27. In fact, they didn't finish. You'll remember they lost that left rear wheel in the carousel, the wheel nut backing off, separating from the hub, and the wheel going with it as they entered the carousel. So they're trying to make amends for today. Roberti was great in that car in the opening stint yesterday, but that mechanical problem put them back. But look at the lead that Sandy Mitchell has pulled out just in this first lap. The halfway mark of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Series underway. This is race 6 of 12. And leading right now, Sandy Mitchell pulling out about 6 car lengths on lap number 1 as he heads into turn 1. 50-minute race here with a mandatory pit stop in the middle, and that pit stop was decisive yesterday because of the full course caution that came out in the middle of the pit stop window. That closed the pit, and if you weren't in yet, you were in a world of hurt. The number 1 car had come in, made their pit stop, and everybody else would have to wait. And that really separated the field and changed what was a potentially good outcome for the 29, your championship leaders. They got burned by that.
Big loser on the opening lap was kind of a 46. That was started by Brandon Godovic in the 4th position, but he crosses the line at the end of lap 1, way back in 10th position.
Well, I wonder if he was one of those cars that we saw laying well back. Oh, and the 4th car in line there, that was the 69 of Eric Kern, that black and gold, dropping a wheel at the exit of turn 6. Car really getting upset. And there's the 46 through turn 7, down the hill in the braking zone for turn 8. You were talking about Brandon Godovic. Remember, he had an issue in practice the other day, off in the kink, damaged that car, and they were lucky to get it back together. Talking to the team manager there, he said it was crashed as much as it could be crashed and be able to be put back on the racetrack. Any more damage, and they wouldn't have made it out.
Yeah, team did a really good job there to get that car back into the fray yesterday, and it was
and they had a good finish with it.
They did a good, strong result in yesterday's race for Connor Daly and Brandon Godovic.
Well, and they said it's not particularly square. I talked to Connor Daly after qualifying Saturday morning, and there's a bold move past the 7. That's Godovic getting past Sheena Monk, and kind of a late move there into Canada corner, but makes it work. So Godovic now kind of trying to find his way back up there. Somehow, as you pointed out, he got shuffled back there at the start. But once again, on the condition of the 46 car, they just said, hey, they worked until 4 o'clock in the morning, Friday morning or Saturday morning, to get that car ready for qualifying Saturday morning. Got it out, got the car qualified, and they said it's not perfect. Connor Daly said, what are you going to do? That's the best we've got, so we're going to see what we can do with it. And they had a great run yesterday. Godovic, a little stutter there at the start, but moving his way back up. It's Sandy Mitchell still in the blue and black Prestige Performance Wayne Taylor Racing Lamborghini Paramus entry, and continuing to inch away from Spears Wally just behind him. I'll tell you the battle, though. Look at Jacob Edson. Edson, if you're down to turn 5, that 09, the yellow and black, really putting the pressure on Corey Lewis. And Jacob Edson, another one of those young drivers that we're going to see work their way through sports car racing in North America, I believe. He is all over the back of Corey Lewis right now.
He is, and conditions this morning just about perfect. We're a little bit of cloud cover, but it's beautiful temperatures here. The track is in really, really good shape. How good? Well, Sandy Mitchell has just set a new lap record on lap 2, the first flying lap around here. 2 minutes 6.426. That's an average speed of well over 115 miles an hour. Yes, an average speed of 115 miles an hour around this 4-mile racetrack.
Now, it's interesting when the 29 of Corey Lewis comes by, if you get a good look at the front of that car, there's some type of debris, I believe, on the front grille. The grille's so small, and I'm not sure exactly how the air flows through it. But you can see something there on the front of it, and you wonder if that's going to have an effect on temperatures. It looks like a plastic bag there, and it's covering a reasonably large section of the front of that Lamborghini Huracan.
So because it's going to block the airflow to the radiators there, and he's going to have to keep an eye on those temperature gauges.
That can be removed at the stop, but we've got to run for at least 20 minutes before the pit stop window opens. You don't want to come in before that. You want to try to wait for that window. The question is, what are the temperatures doing in that 10-cylinder engine just behind the driver? Are they beginning to climb because of that debris? The ambient temperature is really not bad, mid to high 70s right now, so we're not experiencing high temperature, but still any blockage there could be a problem. There's the bag. It moves around Spears Wally and right into the grill there on the 29. Somebody who has massive racing experience is Chad Reed in the yellow and black 22. Coming down the front straightaway right now, that Dream Racing entry, Lamborghini North LA. And if you think, have I heard the name Chad Reed before? Well, if you've ever watched any type of a motocross or supercross race, you certainly do. Just behind Reed in the 22, Sheena Monk, racing in a different class right now, so you got to be careful and not throw something away because you're battling with somebody who doesn't really matter in your championship. But they're having a good run. Chad Reed, very impressive on his debut into sports car racing. Had a good run at Watkins Glen when he stepped in. He had the win in class yesterday here, and I think really adapting well to 4 wheels instead of 2.
Yeah, completely agree with you. And he was behind Sheena Monk in the early stages of this race, but he's made a move to get past her and trying to hold her off now. It's a good battle, that is, for the 10th position overall in this race. Just we saw number 53 making a pit stop, Jerry Kraut. And that pit stop was not one of his mandatory pit stops, which has to be served between 20 and 30 minutes into this 50-minute race. Indeed, instead, it was a penalty for improper positioning at the start of this race. That's car number 53 in the pits. I
wonder if that was some of the mix-up that we saw coming to the green flag. Sheena Monk still putting pressure on Chad Reed. And we talk about the impressive performance that he had at Watkins Glen. They finished 3rd in the first race, he and Ryan Hardwick, and 2nd in the second round there at Watkins Glen. And Ryan Hardwick, really one of the guys that was instrumental in bringing Chad Reed into the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Championship. Reed called him and said, "What do you think? Is that a good stepping stone for me?" And Ryan said, "Absolutely," and made some introductions inside Lamborghini. And they all knew who Chad Reed was and said, "We would love to have him in a car." And we love to have him here in the series. Has to be so different. You understand racing, you know, and certainly as a motocross and supercross rider, you understand close quarters racing. You're rubbing elbows, knees, all that with the other competitors, and so you understand that competitive spirit and that fight, and you understand some of the strategy, but it's got to be a completely different feel. Being close is one thing, but understanding the nuances and the vehicle dynamics of 4 wheels versus 2, you're somebody who can understand it, but you just have to learn it, you have to be taught it, and then you have to experience it, as you said. And Chad Reed, obviously a quick learner.
Yeah, and after all those years of motocross, I mean, many youngsters start off in motocross and then they move on to something else, whatever it might be. Sometimes, often it is car racing, but completely different skill sets are required. And after that period of time, the muscle memory. You've got to teach your muscles to do completely things that just are alien to the way you would normally be reacting, let's say, to on-track positions.
Round 6 of the 2019 Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Championship continues, and Stephen Agakani, the 16-year-old, in that turquoise and black number 6, a little off there in turn 7, just dropping a wheel. Cameron Castle's in front of him, beginning to inch away just a little bit, and Agakani holding nothing back and trying to hold on to the back of the 33 just in front of him. Impressive run for Cameron Castles, and Stephen Agakani trying to hold on. Sheena Monk now has gotten past Chad Reed down into turn 8. Heavy braking zone there. She was able to take advantage, slide up the inside, and make the pass.
Yeah, and Sheena Monk, she's made huge strides. She made a debut in this championship last season, and she was, kind of struggling a little bit. She was coached by Catherine Legg for a little while, and this season she's made huge strides forward, and that was a really nice pass by Sheena Monk on Chad Reed.
That was a picture-perfect pass for Sheena Monk. She waited until the last instant, and as soon as Chad Reed believed that she wasn't going to go, she did. Put the car alongside, blocked him at the turn in so he couldn't get there. She intersected the line, and off the corner she went. And that's how you make a pass. And for Chad Reed, good on him to not try to stay to the outside. That way he didn't lose time with that battle. He went ahead and let it happen and said, you know what? I'm not going to fight with a different class car right now. I'm going to keep my pride intact, keep my wits about me, and keep my head forward, and I'll see if I can get it back in just a little while. But right now, it's a class battle that doesn't need to happen.
That's exactly right. Meanwhile, out the front, Sandy Mitchell extending his lead now, 6 seconds ahead of Cedric Bergerouali in second place. And Mitchell, he reset fastest lap, by the way, on lap 4. We completed 7 laps now, so a new lap record for Mitchell at 2 minutes 5.961. The old record was set by Shinya Michimi in 2016. It stood since then at 206.6, so
wow.
7/10 of a second quicker than that. That's a really, really good lap.
Weather conditions absolutely perfect here at Road America for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Series. Mid to high 70s, good sunshine on the track. That's good track temperature, that's good grip, and that leads to great battles all around the racetrack. Stephen Agakani in the 6th still trying to hunt down Cameron Castles, and Castles has not put a wheel wrong since the drop of the green and is really beginning to pull away from Agakani just a little bit and maybe closing in on McKay Snow, who's just a few seconds down the road. Castles through the kink. He can see the back of that red and black 63. He can see the leader, McKay Snow, and that when you see that, you got that rabbit in front, it's almost like you're grabbing onto a rope and pulling yourself forward little bits at a time. That's exactly what Cameron Castles is trying to do. For Stephen Agakani, Castles is pulling the rope out of his hand as he pulls away.
He is. It's been a really good drive again from Cameron Castles. And Stephen Agakani, the youngster, he was the class of the field. Well, he and McKay were very closely matched at Watkins Glen, but this weekend, McKay has really upped his game a little bit, I think. And Stephen, his lack of racing experience, a lot of miles on the racetrack in these cars. He's been testing the car for 3 years. Yes, he is only just 16. You heard me right.
Yeah, exactly.
He was testing these cars when he was at 12 or 13. But he doesn't have the racing miles, and that's where he's got to learn, and it is a good experience for him here behind Cameron Castles. Cameron Castles is a lot older than Stephen, more than twice. Well, he won't, no, we don't need to go into how
I wasn't going to go there,
but also Cameron Castles, he's not been racing long either. He's only been racing for about 3 years, so he's probably got a similar amount of track time in actual fact than Stephen Agakani, but he's got a lot more racing miles under his belt.
And I think that's what matters. It's that racing experience. You talked about it. The only way to get it is to get out there and do it. And Cameron Castles has been on the racetrack in multiple series and different types of cars, vastly different types of cars, and he's gained that racing experience that you talk of. Right now, McKay Snow closing down a little bit on the 69 of Eric Curran just in front of him. That beautiful black and gold number 69 he shares with William Hubble, but it's a different class. Curran running 2nd in Pro-Am right now. The leader in Pro-Am, Jacob Edson, running 3rd overall, 1st in the class, and they've got Corey Lewis between them. And once again, this is one of those deals that if McKay Snow catches Eric Curran, he needs to know a couple of things. Snow is not getting out of the car at his pit stop, so that's a single driver thing. You know that Eric Curran is going to hand over to William Hubble on the pit stop, and McKay Snow knows that he is a quicker race car driver than Hubble is, so that 69 car is going to go away. So you got to be careful about, once again, how hard are you willing to race a car that's not going to factor in to your championship. As long as Cameron Castles isn't closing down on the rear wing too much of McKay Snow, I think he'll leave Eric Curran alone.
I think you're right. He's certainly got to play the smart game here. Both all of those 3 AM contenders, McKay Snow, Cameron Castles, and Stephen Agakani. So Cameron gets a little bit closer. Again, last time around, as soon as they come across the line now, what is the gap between the two? Yeah, 2.3 seconds now. So it's come down from 3 seconds to 2.3 over the last couple of laps. And Stephen Agakani, a 1.5 seconds further back in the 3rd position in AM class. So all of those 3 drivers, they will be remaining in the cars at their pit stops.
The 88, Jeffrey Cheng, trying to close in on Stephanie Simo just in front. That's a battle for 4th.
And I tell you what, that's been a fun battle going all the way through this race. The 3 cars here, the number 24 car of Ron Atapatu and Stephanie Simo and Jeffrey Cheng, they've been pretty much nose to tail all the way through the race. They're spread out just a little bit now over the last lap or so. But Ron Atapatu, he completed the first lap in the 16th position and has moved up a couple of places since then.
And now the pit stop window is open, and so we see cars diving into the pits already, and perhaps some of these teams thinking about yesterday. And it's almost that deal where if your competitor comes in, you feel like you need to now because you've got to cover that play. If you stay out and there's a full course caution, you realize you're going to get burned because this 4-mile lap takes a while to get done, and the possibility is very real that something like that could happen. 24 is in. We talked about Ron being in the Pro-Am category. Atapatu sharing that car with Patrick Liddy in Pro-Am. They've moved into that class so he could share that car. The 88 of Jeffrey Cheng in as well. And there'll be a driver change there. And you wonder when the leaders are going to come. When will they make that decision?
Well, Sandy Mitchell staying out there. He's just crossed the line to complete lap 10. Lap time around super consistency. The last 3 laps, 2 minutes 7.32, so 2 minutes 7.34, 2 minutes 7.30 this time around. Absolutely love it. And he is extending his lead. Now, the second place car, though, of Cedric Bourgeois, he is on to pit lane, as is Corey Lewis, who was running 4th.
See, I like that call. The leader stayed out, so you come in, kind of go off strategy. Now, if there's a yellow, you're in, you can get back out. And Sandy Mitchell's the one that's going to get burned. So you're playing your cards, laying them down on the table, and they've elected to come in. Mitchell now kind of in a little bit of peril out on the track. He needs to make sure he gets around and in and make sure that there's not a full course caution. And
for the second and third place cars in AM, both also onto pit lane. The number 33 Cameron Castles and the number 6 of Stephen Agakani. McKay Snow, the leader in AM this time, stays out.
Interesting call, but I tell you what, Sandy Mitchell is absolutely flying. 2 laps ago, he had an 8+ second lead. This last lap, it was 11. Where did the 3 seconds come from? You wonder if Edson had some type of an issue out on the racetrack at some point in time, because that is a huge jump in the gap as he came past the line. Pit stop's done. Ashton Harrison now behind the wheel of the 43. And now racing side by side, 24. Patrick Liddy now in that 24 entry, and they are side by side into the braking zone. And Ashton Harrison, a great run yesterday. Liddy slides just a little bit wide. There's her opportunity. She's going to get the run up the hill. I think Liddy waited just a little too long. Couldn't get the 24 slowed down. That beautiful green, fluorescent green and black entry.
Yeah, the Elephant T car.
Elephant T car. What does Ron Atapatu call that? I think he calls it the Big Elephant, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he runs a conservation program for elephants in his native Sri Lanka.
He calls it the Wild Elephant.
The Wild Elephant, that's the one.
And once again, hats off to Ron Atapatu for offering that seat to Patrick Liddy after the crash in yesterday's race that has Bryce Miller sitting on the sideline with a sore ankle today. And Atapatu had offered the entire car to Miller and Liddy. Miller not able to go today, so he said, you know, Patrick, you're welcome to drive so you don't have to pack up and go home, and that's exactly what they did. 1 in. Mitchell out. He's handing that car over to Andrea Amici, and Amici, one of the more aggressive drivers in the pro category, not at all concerned about going wheel to wheel with anyone. They were very aggressive at Barber. And side-to-side contact is something that they don't seem to shy away from. So we'll see when he gets back on the racetrack where he falls in the order. But Mitchell had put in those stunning laps and held an 11-second advantage when everyone was out on the track together before the pit stop started. Liddy absolutely relentless right now on the back wing of the 43 through the carousel. Looking wide there, that's not going to happen. You can't get a pass done in the carousel, and now he's going to kind of fade to the inside, trying to fill her mirrors as she heads into the kink. We talked about speeds yesterday, incredibly fast through there. The car just down as they come through there, just to breathe off of the throttle and through the kink. It's close to 100 miles an hour easily through there. It's actually about 130 through there at the apex with that breathe, and then 165 by the time they get down to Canada Corner.
Stephen Agakani there making a move on, or
That's
is that being under pressure?
Was there contact there?
McKay Snow then came out of the pits. He'd just come out of the pits, and that was the battle for second position, because the number 33 of Cameron Castles was directly ahead of them as well.
Interesting. Castles with the lead in the class. McKay Snow, Stephen Agakani. Agakani having a difficult time getting his engine refired, now back underway. And I wonder if there was contact. There was heavy pressure by McKay Snow in the 63. And as they come up to turn 6, the car gets light just right there at turn in. And it's easy to lose the rear end when you're on your own, but the way they were lined up, it was hard to tell if there is contact.
Yeah, particularly from that angle, as they come into view from that camera, but looking back to turn 6 from turn 7, if there was any contact, it would have been probably 50 yards or so before that. But both cars spin around. Mackay Snow does get going again, but it takes Stephen Agakani a lot longer to get that Lamborghini V10 engine fired up again and get underway.
I feel certain that the officials will look at that and they'll have better views than what we had, but you wonder if there was contact or not. But it doesn't matter, because who's now leading in the AM category? Cameron Castles. Talked about what a great run he's had, and now leading in that category, especially after the problems. And Ashton Harrison, I should say, cannot get rid of the 24 of Patrick Liddy. It's like the fly that just buzzes around you and bugs you all the time. He is right there, and she is under extreme pressure. It's great to have this racing, but once again, you got to be smart about where you are. Ashton Harrison now being shown in the lead of her class, and the question is, where's the 22, and do I care about the 24 that's right behind me? Good stuff, good battles all around, but a problem for the 46, Connor Daly behind the wheel, definitely off pace out of turn 14 and onto pit road. The incident involving the 6 and the 63 is indeed under review, so they will take that into account, see if they can find out exactly what transpired up in turn 6. But for Connor Daly, I wonder if the lingering effects of that crash that Brendan Godovic had on Friday in the kink might be coming back to haunt them right now in the 46. And talking to the team, they were a little bit concerned. Pretty big hits on the axles. They said the transmission was not damaged, but anytime you have big hits on the axles and it drives into the side of the transmission, it can cause problems. It did indeed break the CV joints right at the transmission. So don't know what the problem is there on the 46, but you can't help but wondering if it's some type of lingering effect from Friday's practice crash.
Yeah, and some big news here for car number 43 is Ashton Harrison. She's going to have to serve a drive-through penalty. There's a minimum pit stop time here. Brian Till was just talking about it, 99 seconds for single driver cars, or 103 seconds for the other way around, actually. 99 seconds for two driver cars, 103 for dual driver cars. If you're within a second underneath that minimum, all the penalty will be is double that time. So if you're 9/10 of a second too fast out of the pit lane, the penalty will be 1.8 seconds. If you 0.003, which I think was the case yesterday in one of the teams, it'll be 0.006 will be your penalty. But if you're over more than a second underneath the minimum time, then you have to serve a drive-through penalty. And that is what Ashton Harrison is going to have to do before the end of this race. So that is going to drop her out of the lead in LB Cup.
Just painful indeed, because what a great drive she's put in. Speaking of great drives, Richie Antonucci in the 29, always impressive when he climbs behind the wheel. Definitely that now in the Lamborghini of Charlotte entry, and gets past Damon Oki in the 09. And I think Oki does a good job. He just says, go right ahead. Go right ahead. We are leading in our class right now, and while another podium finish would be great, not sure I really want to fight that hard. And you look at the experience of Richie Antonucci up against the experience of Damon Oki. Yeah, they're both pretty experienced guys, but Antonucci has it hands down, a much longer resume for Antonucci, and he shows exactly what he's made of. He has checked out. And speaking of checking out of the competition, Ashton Harrison, she has to serve that drive-through penalty, does so as soon as it's called, and the run down pit road at pit speed is excruciatingly long.
Yeah, it's going to drop her right to the back of the field, which is most unfortunate for her. That briefly handed the lead in LB Cup to Justin Price, but in fact, he's just been overtaken by Thomas Lovelady in car number 8.
So the look at what happens with Agakani and Mackay Snow, it started down in 5 when Agakani outbreaks Snow into the corner, and then Snow tries to take it back at the top of the hill. But even from that view, I'm not sure if there was contact or not. There certainly could have been. 36 on pit road. Amici out in front in the number 1, trying to repeat the victory that they had yesterday. That came with a little bit of luck because of that full course caution. Damon Oki and his teammate Jacob Edson lead in the Pro-Am category, looking for their 5th win on the season and trying to extend their championship lead. He's having a good run, but you're right, Antonucci really closing in on Roberti, and I think Roberti needs to hope that Antonucci is going to burn the tires off with that run to get him, and then maybe he be able to make it difficult enough that he won't be able to get by. Antonucci in the braking zone in 14. That car jumping around like it's on a pogo stick over the bumps into the braking zone. Antonucci holding absolutely nothing back. They've come across the line, and for Antonucci, he can sense it. He can see the car just in front. It's closer each lap. He's got his head down. And watch that 29, that beautiful white 29 entry from Lamborghini of Charlotte. It has been so quick all season long in the hands of Antonucci and Corey Lewis, and right now he's trying to claw his way up. If he can get to 2nd place, that's going to help kind of ease the pain a little bit of the number 1 finding yet another victory if they're able to stay in front.
Number 33, there is Cameron Castles. He's running in the 5th position overall. That would equal his best overall result, but he's still looking for that first win in AM, and he's certainly in position now. And not only is he leading in AM, he's pulling away from both McKay Snow and Stephen Agakani. That gap has been extending just by a few tenths of a second a lap. So Cameron Castles, even though he's in the lead of this race in AM, he's not relaxing at all. He's pushing hard.
I was just watching the car in the braking zone for turn 3, a nice little rotation at turn in. So Cameron Castles digging as the car comes off turn 5 that time, just a little bit of a slide. He is on the edge for sure. And it's one of those things where a win for him is going to be massively celebrated. He's got his family here with him this weekend, I believe, and that would just be absolutely huge. In the 22, good battles there coming into Canada corner. It's Justin Price in that yellow and black, and just behind him, there it is, the 3 with the move. Solari gets it done, and that was aggressive move by Solari. That's a difficult place to get a pass done into 14, and a lot of times you pay the price because it slows up your exit, and then you get burned down the long straightaway. But good job there by the 3.
Absolutely, really good pass. In amongst that's the leader, the race leader to the left of the screen on the inside heading into turn 1. But that was a really good move, as you say, by Randy Solari there. An aggressive move, certainly, but well judged and clean and perfectly executed.
Well, and here comes Ashton Harrison as well there in the red and black 43 after serving that penalty. She is on her way back up. She's on a charge in that Lamborghini Paramus entry, and just in front of her is the 3 and the 22. She'll see if she can get those 2 cars. She's gotten the 22 already, and now Solari's the next target. She has closed in rapidly on the 3 and the heavy braking down into turn 5. Solari a bit defensive up the hill into 6. Right now he needs to focus forward because Ashton Harrison is all over the rear wing of that Lamborghini Huracan down into turn 8. Can she do anything in the braking zone down here with Solari? He breaks to the middle of the racetrack. She's going to get the better run off the corner. Difficult to make a pass in the carousel, but William Hubble, I believe, slow to driver's right in the inside. They'll have to go wide around him through the carousel, out in the marbles. Perhaps being able to get that done on the way down to the kink. Will that happen? Oh, you hate catching a car here. Oh, and what an aggressive move by Solari. He says, I'm going to go, and he does, and that's going to check him up a little bit. Will Harrison get a run down into Canada corner? She thought better of it and said, there's no way I'm going to look in there. But Solari, wow, that takes your breath away.
Yes, it does. That was a really really bold move by Randy there, but again, you know.
And talk about bold moves. That was Paulo Roberti in the 27, sliding up the inside of those cars down into turn 12. He's trying to get away from Antonucci because he knows that Antonucci is closing in on him. Good battles everywhere around this racetrack, and they're having to work through some traffic to get it done. Good stuff. White flag out here at Road America. Andrea Amici in his #1 entry takes the flag, looks forward to just 4 more miles. Richie Antonucci now all over the back. I think he's past Roberti. Antonucci.
No. Well, if he did it.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, I'm confusing. That's the 3 car just in front of Roberti right now, but Antonucci closing in.
Yeah, he's only a couple of seconds behind him now. He closed in another almost a second on last lap, but this is the last lap of the race. The green flag has been flown, and just less than 4 miles now for Andrea Amici. That gap has come down from first position. He led by as much as 12 seconds after the pit stop. That gap has been halved, but I don't think there's Amici's first position is under threat, but certainly Paolo Roberti's got to keep his head down to make sure he stays ahead of Richie Antonucci.
And interesting, this is what you don't like to see. He's caught the #3 of Solari right there, and Solari a little bit unpredictable for Antonucci, and that's a problem. In fact, Solari very unpredictable down the run into turn 8, making it difficult for Antonucci, and you don't like to see that because Antonucci's trying to close down on Roberti, and that cost him some time. And it could have cost him the position. That's going to give Roberti that little bit of a lead, that little bit of jump out of the carousel, and it may secure his second-place spot.
Yeah, it'll certainly make it easier. I don't think Antonucci was close enough. He was still a couple of seconds behind him going into that lap, but still, it's been a good charge by Richie Antonucci.
Andrea Amici in the #1, Prestige Performance, Wayne Taylor Racing, Lamborghini Paramus, looking for win #2 on the season, win #2 on the weekend. They had a great run yesterday. Lady Luck smiled on them a bit with that full course caution at the opportune time after they made their pit stop. But today, it was all about sheer speed and power. Andrea Amici, Sandy Mitchell with the drive in the opening stint, but Amici brings it to the checkered flag, and that's win #2 for the #1 here at Road America. Great Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Series action, and Roberti does indeed hold on to second, Antonucci third. That's the top 3 overall and the top 3 in the pro category. Damon Oki, his teammate Jacob Edson in the 09. They will celebrate yet another victory as they come onto the front straightaway. Oki under the checkered flag this time. He'll do the honors, and they'll take another victory and extend their points lead in Pro-Am. That is the 5th win on the season, 5 of 6 races for the 09.
Yeah, and there goes Cameron Castles across the line.
That is going to be a huge celebration.
Yeah, that is, and really, really well deserved. He takes his racing really seriously. He's a very accomplished businessman. He's been looking for that first win for a long, long time.
Welcome back to beautiful Road America, where round 6 of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series has been run. Time now to hear from the race winners.
It's always good to get a double win. Our first win of the season in race 1, and then the second shortly followed in race 2. So yeah, absolutely amazing. The car was absolutely perfect today. I managed to push really hard on the first few laps, and then just managed to keep the tyres nice. And yeah, Andrea was able to manage the gap in the second half of the race. So really good. Our Prestige Performance car P1 again today. So yeah, not much more you can ask.
It's very special. Today the car was absolutely fantastic. He did a fantastic stint, so for me it was quite easy just to manage the gap that he did. So I want to thank the Prestige Performance, Lamborghini Paramus, Wayne Taylor Racing for the great car that we had today. This guy for the special job. We think that we are now closer to the championship lead after the bad luck in Barber. So finger crossed for the next weekend. We'll give the maximum to do a double win again.
And I want to make a clarification because I made a mistake. I was talking about Sheena Monk. She's in the AM category, not the LB Cup category. Ashton Harrison in that LB Cup category. We're talking about that impressive drive back up to second place, and that matches the best finish that she and Stephanie Simo have on the season. So they have really come on strong here in the last two events, and that's what this series is about. New drivers, experienced drivers, and some of the best, most impressive machinery. Fans here got to see a great one. We are now into the second half of the 2019 Lamborghini Super Trofeo North American Championship. This one has been a great one. The rest of the season will be too.
The next race on NBCSN for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America Series comes later this month during the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship weekend at VIR, Virginia International Raceway. Hope to see you then. For Brian Till and Jeremy Shaw, I'm Lee Diffie. We'll see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of the International Motorsports Association. We would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.